to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two cousins who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Monica.
And
I almost said your name when I was going, I'm Mary Kate. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah. How are things going for you, Monica?
Not too bad. Been a pretty, uneventful week, like always. Saw my boyfriend, hung out. He was with me when we watched the episode last night, which was a lot of fun.
She made this poor boy watch this episode after he didn't watch the rest of the show. Although, my first complaint about that is, why the fuck hasn't he watched the rest of the show and then watched our podcast? Rude. Not a very supportive boyfriend.
He is supportive. He's just not a horror person.
I'm just kidding, Cody. I know you're not an asshole. I'm just,
Yeah, I had him watch this. He's never seen another actual episode of the show, and he doesn't like squeamish things. And for an episode for me to have him sit and watch with me,
this was not the choice.
No. This was very, very rough, and I literally, when we discuss the opening scene here in a little bit.
I mean, to be honest, other than the opening scene, it wasn't awful.
He also just doesn't like a lot of blood, and there was two scenes that had a lot of blood in them, and he was just like, nope.
And there was one that really messed me up. Yeah. Actually, no, both of them messed me up, but for different reasons.
Yeah. And so when we were watching that together, when we talk about it, there was one part where he just said nope and threw his head back on the pillow and covered his face because he's like, I'm not watching that. I was Mary Kate getting through this scene right now because there's no way in hell she is.
I didn't feel like doing my job at work on Friday, so I watched the episode at work on Friday. And luckily there was not a lot of people in my office at that time because I was very, very reactive to this episode.
Yeah.
We started classes again this week, so I had children again, which was great because I really missed them, but also if there are any other teachers who watch this or listen to this, please tell me I'm not alone in this. It does not matter how long or short the break was, how used to your routine you are. The first week of teaching after any time off is exhausting.
I only know this from seeing Mom have to go back and forth from work, and yeah.
It's like I only had 2 weeks off, and for one of those 2 weeks I was still running a camp, but it's just a different kind of tired.
Yeah. Also, to everyone who's watching here, let me get him situated. Here is your daily boo hello. Your weekly boo hello.
I met a human male today who was mildly attractive and also made me laugh, and so that was a positive. I mean, it's probably is not going to do anything. His oldest daughter is 25. And I was like, and I told him that made me feel awkward because I was 28, and he goes, don't worry, I started really young. I had her when I was 3.
He's making the moves on you, Mary Kate.
I don't think so, but it was nice to chat with a human male who wasn't a piece of shit. So that was my highlight of the week.
Yeah, I see. Talking to men who aren't garbage is honestly an amazing thing that I wish more people could say that they've done.
Yeah, it's a very rare occurrence in my life.
Yeah, same here. I'm like, if you asked me the question, I don't know, 3 months ago, I would have said, I don't know if those exist. But here I am now. But the guy who has a nickname for me, and he calls me Moon because I like the night sky, and he was used to calling me Mon. He's like, well, if you had an extra O, you could be called Moon. And I was like, and then he also compared me to the night sky and a galaxy and everything. And I was like, yeah? Where am I? I'm on a different fucking plane of existence because men don't talk that way to women and mean it.
In less exciting news, I told Monica this a little bit ago, but it's still bothering me and I haven't shared it with you guys. But Netflix in Thailand has done this really amazing thing where they have Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn Part 2, but not Breaking Dawn Part 1.
How could they do
And
that?
I'm still mad about it.
I mean, I don't blame you. I would be too. If the only way I could watch Twilight was on Netflix and I couldn't watch Breaking Dawn Part 1, I think I'd cry.
But also, I've been watching Twilight every day because, hi, my name's Mary Kate and I'm a Twilight addict. Yep. But I've been watching Twilight every day for the last 3 weeks. And I would like to have a serious conversation with my 16-year-old self. Because I genuinely idolized Edward and Bella's relationship.
Yep.
And as an adult watching these movies, Charlie is the only person who is even remotely acting like their relationship is a problem when it's so toxic.
Yeah. And
I'm like, why is Charlie being made out to be the bad guy when he's just like, calm down?
Yeah. Like, when you say that, I feel like I learned a lot about myself as well. Because same with your exact opinion right there. Same.
Yeah. And I was watching Eclipse and I was just like, no, Charlie's right. This is not healthy. Stop.
And the thing is that in Eclipse, I think we see Bella's true intentions come out as to why she marries Edward. And that's just to get some VD. Not the disease. The vampire dingaling. That's all that she's there for.
Also, this extensive Twilight segment has been brought to you by the fact that I was talking to my friend Hope the other day and explaining that I had a podcast and that it was supposed to be about Hemlock Grove, but really I just talked about Twilight. And she was like, I am fucking here for that. So I hope you're listening. Also, I hope you are as this episode will come out on December 13th, which means the new Tokyo Hotel song will have been out for 2 days. And so, like, I obviously haven't heard it yet. Excited. But we're here. Hope is, to me, like Bella is to you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Also, sorry to everyone who's going to be seeing if you're watching the episode, who's going to be seeing my double chin. My upper back has been killing me a lot lately. So here I sit.
Yeah.
And also, for our viewers, Adam Driver.
Can you please stop putting Adam Driver on this podcast?
No, he's important. Mary Kate, me and you shared a bonding moment when me and you watched when we watched episode 9 together. And we were crying together at the end. We shared that moment. We were both crying for like 2 different reasons. I was crying for part of your reason, but I was crying for,
I was crying because Lando Calrissian was back and Princess Leia was dead. I didn't give a fuck about Kylo Ren.
Yeah. See, I was crying because of Kylo.
But also, I've seen Adam Driver's penis. Have you never watched Girls?
No.
Yeah. It's the very first episode of Girls. He's just fully ass naked.
Add that to my watch list real quick.
It's probably the worst show I've ever seen.
I'll watch the first episode and I'll be done.
My dad watched it and then called me and said, don't ever act like these girls. They are horrible people.
Yeah, I've heard terrible things about.
And I was like, don't worry, Dad. I won't.
Yeah. Also, to anyone who's watching this that is a fan of Girls, no offense to you.
Oh no, I fully mean to offend you. It's a terrible show.
There's two different people.
Speaking of terrible shows, Hemlock Grove.
I mean, this season it's making me not hate it as much.
It's crazy because all the reviews say that season 2 is so bad, but I haven't hated it yet.
Yeah, there are things I don't like about it coming from an critical, if we're looking at it storyline-wise, because they're also not touching on a big hunk of the storyline.
Oh, yeah, like, there's definitely holes in it. It definitely is not perfect.
But it's not terrible.
No.
Terrible would be, I think, is a stretch. Perfect, no. Watchable, yes. Tolerable, the first season, kinda. Second season, it's tolerable.
It's tolerable if you can handle gore.
Yeah.
I have a friend who was like, I want to listen to your podcast. Like, I should watch the show. What's it about? And I showed her the Hemlock Grove trailer, and she goes, I love you anyway.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So we are on season 2, episode 6, which is entitled Such Dire Stuff. It came out on July 11th, 2014, and was rated 7.6 stars. It was directed by Peter Cornwall, who directed episode 3, Luna Rea, which was the first episode of the season we really liked. Mm-hmm. And then it was written by Evan Dunsky, who wrote episode 1, which we did not like.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what to expect going in.
Yeah, obviously our special effects crew still kicking with the same people. Still knocking it out of the park with the effects, especially in this episode. I think with this has moments where they're kind of like, this episode is kind of like, meh. But honestly, it was a lot happened. It was a longer episode. It was 53 minutes long. And I was like,
they've all actually been 53 minutes. This one just was the first one I could feel that it was 53 minutes. Yeah, this season they've all been 53 minutes.
I did not know that. I just normally hit play and I just watched. I saw that. I was like, oh my God, this is almost an hour long.
Mm-hmm. The blurb. Roman undertakes his first treatment with Dr. Pryce. Norman sets up a rendezvous with a beloved relative he thought was lost forever.
Which, I mean, accurate blurb.
Yeah.
Accurate blurb. Those things do happen. And I feel like they're things that aren't super spoilery.
Yeah.
I feel like they're things that are important and that we need to know going in, as if we're talking about it as a blurb. But then there's also a lot of other random fuck shit that kind of happens in this episode. In between those.
Yeah. So let's just start talking about it, because I don't even know what to say. So we start with Roman receiving his treatment. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason I didn't really care for that being the blurb, because it was literally the cold open.
That's fair. But I feel like if you're going to write a blurb about anything else that had happened in this episode, what would it be about? How could you phrase literally anything else that has happened in this episode in a blurb besides those two things without it being super spoilery or super uncomfortable or for it to make any remote sense?
No idea.
Exactly.
So we learned Dr. Chernobyl's real name, but I can't pronounce it.
Yeah,
it was
no.
very long, and I didn't care to learn it. So I will still be calling her Dr. Chernobyl. Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
She wants to help with Roman's treatment. And Pryce is not having that shit. And I thought he told her that she was not needed there because she needed to work on other things, which means, and he was indicating that she still needed to finish this enzyme thingamajig, which confused me because I thought the enzyme was the treatment, but apparently it is not.
Yeah.
Then we find out that the treatment is to cure him of his ooperism. He wants to be a human. And I said I don't buy it. I don't think Pryce can do that.
Yeah. See, I think now, mind you, for everyone who has not watched this,
again, why would you be watching this if you haven't watched it?
But we do have people who can't handle the gore but want to hear about it and hear about it in a very satirical way, like we do, which I'm like, good on you. I thank you.
Yes.
We have Roman is laid out on this slab with this restraint over his legs and over his head and over his upper arm.
It did not look like him. Like his face was real distorted.
But also, he had a mask thing on his eyes. And also this bar around right by his eyes, which we later realized. Because,
yeah, so the treatment starts. And my note says, this is so intense. What the fuck? Because it was like a solid 30 seconds of just machines moving and needles, and it was insane. And then my next note says, not the eyeballs.
I knew the eyeballs were coming from the second I saw this scene.
I knew the eyeballs were coming because we saw it in the trailer.
That is well, and also because there was a light and a lot of stuff surrounding his eyes that I'm like, oh, they're definitely going to be touching his eyes.
But then they just kept going.
Yep. The machines do this really spinny thing. They inject him with the needles in his side. They get up, mix around, do it again. And then there's these little clip things that come and like pry his eyelids open. And then 2 needles go into his eyes. And it looks like they were like vacuum sealed for a hot minute. And then they go back.
And I thought it was going to stop. And then it just kept going.
Yeah, no, they were going like, you thought like the scene would end like right when the needles went into the eye. Nope. It was boop, and then like his eyeballs went back to normal, and then he's in a lot of pain, and then Johan kind of puts this rod on him with this thing that's attached to him that like pumps some shit into him. I wasn't quite sure because it was like all sciencey, and I'm not that sciencey of a person. But he does this thing, and then he's like, you're taking it like a champ. You're a real trooper. Only 5 more left.
And I said,
Roman's face. I hope we have to watch it 5 more times.
Absolutely not. If I have to watch that 5 more times, I absolutely not.
I will die. I will.
Then we get to the credits.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the credits, we open on Destiny, Andreas, and Peter watching TV before Destiny has to leave for work. And my note on this scene, my first note, is I love Tommies, because they were watching a nature documentary and it was about Thompson's gazelles, and Tommies are my absolute favorite gazelles because I'm the kind of person that has a favorite type of gazelle. And I was like,
Very Kate, you're getting excited about all the wrong things on the show.
I love Thompson's gazelles.
I mean, I think you deserve to be excited over gazelles after having to watch that disgusting
Right.
opening.
I watched someone get needles shoved into their eyeballs. I earned these gazelles.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely did. 100%. I will not doubt that.
I don't know. I just am imagining what people would even remotely think this episode was about if the title was I Earned These Gazelles.
Honestly, keep them on their toes. Keep them on their toes.
And then Andreas is a loser, but like in the best way possible. Yeah. Destiny says she has to go to work, and he's like, every second without you will be miserable. I was like, shut the fuck up.
Andreas, I legit think is that much in love with Destiny.
He is. It's annoying. I hate love.
Me.
I don't care.
I don't care that you have a happy relationship. On to the next thing. We're here to see the dysfunctionalness of every other relationship.
And then he's trying to get Peter to eat breakfast. And then Peter looks out the window and Sheriff Chester is downstairs and he's like, shit, he's back. And Andreas has these like Photoshop pictures of them playing bocce as their alibi to not have taken Linda out of prison, which is a horrible alibi.
Yeah.
But
convicted of murder or suspected of not murder, anything, crime really. Just Photoshop yourself playing bocce. It's the most obscure thing, but also casual thing at the same time. That it's like, why would someone say that their alibi is bocce?
You know, this is the second time this week I've seen something about bocce. They were playing bocce on the episode of Bachelorette this week, and I really want to play bocce now.
Bocce's fun.
I love bocce. I haven't played since I left home. It's not like bocce's the sport of Thailand.
True. When you come home, we'll play bocce together.
I love it. So Chester comes upstairs, and he's like, hey, so when's the last time you saw your mom? And Peter's like, yeah, yesterday I saw her. They told her she was getting a prison transfer. And he's like, yeah, didn't really go as well as expected. We found the car abandoned on the side of the road, and she's gone. And Peter was like, oh, what?
The audacity.
The audacity. Only he was actually pretty convincing. He was a good liar. Good liar. And then Michael said what may be my favorite line of the episode. He said, I don't have time to deal with this particular clusterfuck. I've got too much else on my plate. And I wrote, I wish I didn't hate Michael, because that was actually funny.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not going to hate Michael as the show goes along, because even later in the scene we find out that him and Peter are that he's actually believing Peter, and he knows what Peter is because he knows what his sister had found. Like he's aware of everything that's going on, but I think he actually had to be I think he was being a hard ass on Peter to see if it was true or not, to see it for himself in a way. And for him to have that substantial proof, it's like, how the fuck would this kid have known this?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But also, his whole goal is to find out what really happened to Clementine. And, like...
Peter wasn't involved in that. That's solely Olivia and Pryce.
Yes and no. Because I'm sure if she hadn't tried to get Peter, nothing would have happened to her.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think Michael would solely put that on Peter.
Oh, no, I don't think he would solely put that on there, but I don't know that he would leave Peter and Roman as innocent in that situation.
That's fair.
So basically he's like, if you find out anything about my sister, let me know. And I will leave you out of this investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Deal's a deal. They leave. Then we go to Olivia's. And my note for this scene, which might be my favorite note I've ever written, I wrote, I wish I had hire a classical pianist to play for me because I'm sad money.
Yeah, I literally have, okay, so Olivia's in her field, so she says, let me just buy a musician real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wish I was so rich that on my sad days I could just hire a classical pianist to play for just me.
But she's just sitting there so longingly, like, and it's like when I listen to Ghost to You by 5 Seconds of Summer, but like she has it like live and in person. That's like me saying I'm gonna buy 5 Seconds of Summer to sing my sad playlist to me. I'm in my feels right now.
Mine would still be a classical pianist because I would have Yuruma play A River Runs Through You and I would cry.
That's fair. That's fair. I respect that
for you. Or I'd get a cellist. The cello is a very sad instrument.
That's very true. I look at my notes too.
But Olivia's sitting there listening to her music when there's a knock on the door, and Dr. Chernobyl comes in, and my note says, Dr. Chernobyl is a sneaky little bitch. I do not like her.
Yeah, I said she needs to watch her ass.
She comes in, and she's like, did you know that Dr. Pryce is doing experiments on your son? And Olivia's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I knew it. He didn't tell you. And she's like, I know what you are. I studied you and your family in Russia. I knew that you and Roman were part of this tribe. And now Pryce is trying to make Roman not a new peer anymore. And I'm telling you this information, and you're going to do a favor for me. And that's how this is going to play out. And then she says a bunch of stuff in Roman in Russian. And then she drinks some vodka straight and leaves.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting, to say the least. But then after this intense scene,
the only thing that I thought was really interesting about that scene, well, other than the fact that this girl knows more than she's letting on, the interesting thing was that she said that when she was studying this stuff in Russia, that there were asylums full of opiers. And I'm trying to figure out, how big of a problem is this vampire problem?
I think it's a lot bigger than we expect it to be. But not for our people in Hemlock.
No, I just I don't know. I still don't really get opier versus vampire. Like, I don't get it yet. And I feel like a season and a half into the show, I should get it.
I think opier, from things that I've gathered from context clues, because we all know that this show doesn't explain anything.
Yeah.
An opier has immortality, but it also can die.
Well, yeah, they just age.
Yeah, they age.
They age super, super, super slowly. They feed on blood, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I get the characteristics, but I don't get the, like, lore. Like, where did it come from? What is it? Are there vampires in this world? And is that different than opier? Like, why do these two scientists know all this shit that is supposedly scientific research and the rest of the world has no idea that they exist? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah. In all honesty, that's the only thing that I don't know if.
And I think for me, the science thing is what bugs me, because, like, in supernatural shows, you have, like, these are werewolves, these are vampires, things just happen. We don't know, we all know magic. Everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But because this show is so scientific based, it's like, how are people just doing all the scientific research and studies and, like, people don't know about it? And to be honest, that's the horror of this show for me. How much weird, creepy medical research is out there that nobody is telling us about.
Exactly. Aliens.
Then we go to Roman's house, and Miranda has just fed the baby, and she's trying to be friends with the old lady nurse, and the old lady nurse does not want anything to do with her.
She literally was like sitting there, and she was like, Miranda was like, well, I figured like we could like, you know, maybe help each other out and, you know, like be friendly to one another and be nice because we see each other all the time. And she just like looked up at her and then continued to do her knitting. And I was like, okay, bitch. Like,
well, that's how Miranda reacted too. She said, I didn't ask for this, bitch. I was like, ooh. My note literally just goes, well, this is awkward.
Yeah, I'm like, that's uncomfy now.
Then Olivia is leaving her house to go confront Pryce. We don't know if she's going to confront Pryce yet, but she's leaving. And Norman's mother effing PI sneaks into the house and starts stealing a bunch of stuff. And I wrote, everybody's just trying to fuck with Olivia today.
Yeah, and I wrote down, I said, this PI, because when I first watched it, I couldn't remember who the PI was because she looks different in this episode. And I was like, who the fuck's that? And I was like, oh, it's the PI. I'm like, she's gonna get her ass fucking double lunched on.
Then we go to the White Tower where Olivia is confronting Pryce, and I loved this scene. I cracked up so many times. I literally wrote, I'm dead, because
I have a note that says, because when they're like going back and forth and like Olivia's obviously displaying emotions, Pryce is like, oh, I didn't want to tell you because, you know, you've been so emotional. Like he was like coddling a sad pregnant woman. Like this.
Well, and it's literally so freaking, she's like, what are you doing to my son? And he's like, we're removing all of his oopierism. He's receiving an oopierectomy, if you will. And I was like, I'm fucking dead. And then she's like talking to him, and she just goes, and he's like accusing her of all this stuff, and she goes, I don't kill my children anymore. I've changed, okay?
More. She literally said, I've changed. I haven't killed a child in a long time.
So I was dead. I said that the point of the conversation was that Pryce is like, Pryce is like, Roman is not very easy to control, and he doesn't want to do this anyway, so you just need to let him do his thing and die and get it over with, and look at the baby for your legacy. So basically, we get confirmation that the baby is Upir.
Yeah. And she's like, he was like, you need to start to think about what a life is going to be like without Roman.
Which just destroys her.
Yeah.
So then Olivia goes to Roman's abode.
I fucking love this scene, honestly.
And the butler dude lets her in and everything, and then Roman's like, why the F did you let her into my house? Like, and he says that, and she's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, I don't want to live my life as a parasite, like as a human tick, like I'm not you, basically. And she was like, you're heartless. And he said, it's hereditary.
Which is one of my favorite lines. I was like,
I have a Pinterest board called Death and Aliens where I just save like GIFs and pictures that I might use for the podcast, and I've already saved that GIF.
I love that.
So it's hereditary. But basically, the staff is still super loyal to Olivia, and I don't know why, except for that probably Roman's a giant dick.
Yeah.
And as Olivia is leaving, the old lady spills all the deets about Miranda and the baby and the boning.
She's like, this street trash is coming in here taking care of the baby and ends up in your son's bed and comes and goes when she pleases. And I'm sitting here hearing all the things that she's talking about Miranda. I'm like, okay, one, it doesn't come from money or wealth where she's supposed to act like Olivia. Two, she's a normal person. She should be able to come and go as she pleases out of the house. She's not a captive. She is a person who's staying there.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this old bitch's deal? I couldn't stand that old lady. I don't like her. She annoyed me. For the 2 scenes she was in, hated her.
She was in 3 scenes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about a scene because I want to brainwash it. I want to bleach my eyes after that scene. I don't care.
Then we get a really weird scene where a little boy, and by a little boy, it's Jason. I just did not recognize that it was Jason when it happened.
Was it? I don't know if it was Jason.
No, it was, because then later they show the same little boy walking, and he walks into the house with Shelly, and that's the only reason I figured out it was Jason. I figured out it was Jason later when they show him walking away. Okay. I didn't realize it was him at this scene. But so Jason walks up to this dude and his dog, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I love your dog. Can I pet it?" And the dude responds only by putting the creepy cult mask on.
Uh-huh.
And I just wrote, like, I don't get that scene because, like, the kid has already seen your face, and then you're gonna put the mask on. Like, so I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I got answers later, but only vaguely.
Yeah.
Then we return to the White Tower, where Pryce has called Dr. Chernobyl up to his office to ream her out for going to Olivia behind his back.
Yeah, like he's trying to like get her to admit it, and she's like, "Oh, I'll find whoever like is leaking this information, and I'll make sure they're punished properly." And he's like, "Okay, like stop being an idiot." He's like, "Listen, I got you out of this like terrible thing where you were committing more crimes." And
he was like, "I knew where you went before you did. Like I know."
And he was like, "I gave you a whole new identity. Like your old self is supposedly dead, and you started a whole new life." He's like, and I gave that to you. He's like, and then I can easily take it away. And then she hits him back with the, well, then guess what? You'd be known as harboring someone who is against the U.S. or whatever.
Oh, yeah. So she was a Soviet war criminal. She was a doctor in the Soviet Union and doing horrible, horrible experiments on humans. And he extracted her. And he has her original passport and this new passport that he made. And he shreds her old passport. And it's like, as of today, you don't exist outside of this building. Or no, he shreds her fake passport, her new one. And it's like, as of today, you don't exist outside of this building unless you want me to turn you over. And she was like, well, you can try to turn me over, but then you'll also be fucked because you were harboring a war criminal for all these years. And then he hits her with the most savage thing, like threat I've ever heard. He's talking about what her and her colleagues did to people in these other countries. And he was like, I heard that they would take their enemies and put their bodies into a wood chipper. And if they'd been behaving well, they'd go head first so that they couldn't feel it. And if they weren't, they'd go feet first to prolong the torture. And I've always wanted to know what that feels like. I was like...
Oh, so he said, let me chop you up real quick.
As he put her passport through a paper shredder, which makes it so ominous and terrifying. And I literally was like, who is this man?
Yeah. Johan, he's not, like, I think he's a loose cannon. He's really a loose cannon. And I love that we get to see more of it, like, because I kind of like it.
Oh, me too. He is by far my favorite character this season.
He is, like, very, like, I see he has a moral compass where I'm like, he is genuinely trying to help Roman, but he's also trying to help
maybe?
Roman. Because I think he knows that Roman isn't what they should have as an oupier, because like I think he wants to help Roman because he knows it's not what he wants, and also because it's not beneficial to him or Olivia. Because
that's the thing, is it's not, I don't think he cares if Roman's in pain or not. He has some ulterior motive. The problem is I don't understand what that motive is yet.
Yeah.
Which I kind of love.
Yeah.
I think Pryce is why I still really like the show.
Pryce is like an enigma, and I kind of like that.
So then we flash back to the weird mask guy, and I wrote, he killed that little boy. And then I go, oh wait, no. What the fuck? He didn't kill him. That's why he's going to kill himself.
Yeah, I have, my note says, at least we know what one of the cult people look like now. And then I was like, oh, never mind, he slit his calf, so technically he's not.
So basically,
way to kill himself. He was like, let me just like slice my calves open
and
real
slowly
quick.
Bleed out.
Yeah.
Horrible. But it seemed like that was kind of like he didn't really want to do it that way, but he had to. Like that was his punishment for not completing his task.
Yeah. Which means that, because I was like, oh, cool, and then that boy won't die because he was the only one that saw that boy. But then we'll get to it later, but with what happens later, we realize, oh, no, that boy's fucked. I didn't know that it was, what's his face, though?
Jason, yeah. That boy is fucked, but for totally other reason.
Oh, yeah, completely different reason.
So that was messed up. That was probably one of the weirdest blood scenes for me.
Yeah.
Because there
was a lot of blood coming out of his calf for how he cut it. It didn't look like he cut deep enough for that much blood to come out.
It's because of where the arteries are in your legs. He cut a specific place on purpose. Like it clearly was very deliberate.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't really care. Like it was too realistic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like crazy vampire neck biting, blood squirting everywhere is gory, but it's not
real.
Somebody being depressed and sitting alone in their car and slicing their calf right where the artery is to make sure they bleed slowly to death, that's messed up.
Yeah.
I did not really appreciate it.
No, I don't blame you.
And I also don't appreciate that is all the information that we're getting on the call, is that like when they fail, they kill themselves.
Yeah. We got a little bit of information where we can use context clues to try and figure out what this call is about, but we'll get to that at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But after this very graphic scene, we decided to go to have a party at Peter's, and Peter's like, what the hell's going on here? And Destiny's like, we're having a party, these are your people, have fun, you need to relax, don't be so uptight all the time, have fun.
I was like, my note just says, that's quite the rager, Des.
Yeah, Destiny has said, like, they're having like a banger, like everyone's having fun.
Oh yeah,
great times. And then Peter is like still sulking and being sad and drinking a beer like he always does.
Yeah.
Because
and then the next scene goes back to the little boy walking in the snow, and he walks into his house and goes to grab something from the fridge and then sneaks out and goes into the basement, and that's how I knew it was Jason.
Yes.
So Jason goes and he's reading a book to Shelley. That was very cute.
Mm-hmm.
We flash back.
Wait, real quick.
This scene flashes back and forth a lot between the party and this scene.
Because in my notes I have before we go to back to the party scene. Shelley is checking her phone because the last that we knew, checking that phone because she messaged Norman for help last episode.
Oh yeah.
And he hasn't messaged her back that we know of. looking at the email thing, and there aren't any emails coming through.
Yeah. So then we go back to the party, and Miranda shows up, and she's like, I tried to call you. You didn't answer, so I just came here. And my only note is that Destiny does not like Miranda.
No. And we get that solidified later on.
Oh, yeah, but she was like giving her some real dirty looks.
Mm-hmm.
Then flash back to Shelly and the little boy reading. And we just see Norman outside looking around for Shelly, trying to figure out where she's hiding, because he has, in fact, come to find her.
Uh-huh.
But that's all we get. Then we go back to the party, and after the party has started to wear down, everyone is passed out, and Peter and Miranda are like smoking a joint and talking to each other. And I literally wrote, I would like Peter and Miranda together if I trusted her at all, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like, their vibe really fits together, the way they talk to each other. Like, they get each other, except for that I don't believe her.
Yeah. And I just, like, I was watching this, I was thinking, like, oh my God, is Miranda gonna say something about the baby? Because she was very, very drunk, and she was, like, very high. I'm like, she's gonna probably say something that's gonna slip. She didn't, which props to her. But I was like, oh fuck, if she does, this is gonna be World War III.
Then we go back to Shelly, and Shelly is looking at the phone again. And my note says, that phone has the longest battery life I've ever seen in my life.
And I was thinking the same thing.
There's no way in fuck that phone was still not dead.
But also, those phones are old as hell. Like, there weren't games on it. So if you had a phone that you only used to get in contact with people, and you didn't have to get in contact with people a lot, your phone battery could last like 2 days.
But I don't think it's only been 2 days.
Well, obviously later, like in the scene when she ends up waking him up to send him home, she gives him the phone, so he must put it back to like charge it to bring it back to her. He must bring it back.
I guess. I was like, man.
It's
so then she sends Jason back to go to bed, and she starts to leave, which is why I think that the anxiously looking at the phone wasn't about the email. I think it was about the time. I think there was a set time that she was supposed to meet Norman, and so she was checking the time to go outside at the right time, and Norman just got there early because he was so anxious.
Yeah.
So Jason goes home, and his stepdad is sitting up waiting for him with his belt off. And I just wrote, no, poor Jason.
Yeah,
and then it got way worse. So Jason's stepdad is beating him with the belt, and he's screaming. And Shelly hears the screaming and decides that she is absolutely not having any of that. And she runs into the house and
yells. He went, no.
Shelly has a voice.
I was like, oh my God, she's talking.
But the stepdad tries to shoot Shelly, as you know, is the natural thing I don't agree with it, but if it was 2:00 in the morning and a 7-foot tall, half bald woman with an eyeball the size of a fist ran into my house screaming no at me, I would probably resort to shooting too. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of, we are not freaked out because we love Shelly, but realistically, if I was an average human being and that happened to me, I can't say I wouldn't react the same way.
Yeah. But here's the shooter. Instead of shooting Shelly, he shoots a woman in the head that lived in the house. I'm assuming is either, I think, a grandmother, because there was also another.
No, I think it was the mom. I think the other lady was the older one.
Either way, there were 2 women in this house. So I don't know who was who, but there were 2 women and then the stepdad.
You're talking quiet again.
Oh, there were 2 women and the stepdad. So either way, There were 2 women in this house.
Yeah. But so one of the women, who may or may not be Jason's mom, comes into the room, and Jason's stepdad, who is very drunk, fucks up his aim and blows her head off. Not Shelly, the other lady.
Yeah. And then Shelly then the other woman comes in with a butcher knife and like, or like a butcher knife, a cleaver, and like throws it in her back.
Well, before that, Shelly goes to grab the gun from the stepdad, and he fights back, so she pushes him, and he gets like impaled with a coffee table leg
through the jaw.
And then the other lady throws a butcher knife at Shelly, and she pushes her and like knocks her head into a cupboard and cracks her head open.
Yeah. And she
so all these people are just murdered. And Jason is just sitting in a corner crying.
And she just goes, "I'm so sorry," and then says, "Deuces, I'm out." She just leaves.
Which, granted, she had a butcher knife in her back and she needed help. So, but I literally wrote, this is the most traumatic thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being poor Jason.
And I don't know when the next part happens, because I didn't actually take a note about it, but the end of this storyline is that like a neighbor comes in and Jason is just sitting on the floor playing the game on the BlackBerry phone while he's surrounded by blood and dead bodies.
Yeah.
As if absolutely nothing just happened. So he's gonna grow up to be a psychopath.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then so Norman calls Pryce, and he's like, "I have Shelly." And Pryce, well, first of all, it's before I get into that, Norman's like, Pryce is like, "Why are you calling me this late?" And he's like, "Will you ever just like shut the fuck up?"
He said, "For once in your fucking life, can you just shut the fuck up and listen?" And Pryce is like, "Shutting the fuck up and listening as instructed, sir."
He's like, "I found Shelly." And then Pryce got so excited.
Pryce jumped out of bed so fast that they continuity fucked up his Elton John mask.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh my God, is she okay? Where is she? How is she doing? Is she all right?" And she like, she got hurt in her back. She's like, "But she's doing all right." He's like, "Nothing the terrible and powerful."
The great and terrible, which was a Wizard of Oz reference.
Yeah, the great and terrible Pryce couldn't handle. And so now Shelly is on her way back to the White Tower.
Yes.
And she's going to be put into a private medical suite, and no one will know that she's there. Pryce is turning off all the security cameras and everything like that so that they can get her out of sight.
Exactly.
And after this phone call, we go back to Peter's the following morning, where Miranda's about to scoot and boot right on out of there.
And Destiny is like, "Hey."
Destiny gets her fucking pettiness in, and that makes
so she is a petty queen. She's like, "Hey, so I know a grifter when I see one, and like, you're really cute, and it would work if Peter didn't have a cousin who loves him, but here I am." So, and the thing about that is that my note says, "Yo, Monica and I called that fucking damage not making sense with that car wreck." The problem is that we saw the wreck in the episode, so now I don't know what I'm supposed to believe.
Same.
But like, Destiny's basically like, "Oh, you show up at a rich boy's house and you're cut on your forehead. Oh no, I'm so hurt. And then you find a nice, sweet boy with soulful eyes to make him jealous." And she was like, "There's 2 things that you don't know." And one of them was like, one of them was that Roman is evil. And one of them was about her taking care of Peter. But the thing is, there's a third thing she doesn't know, and that is that Roman and Peter are in love.
Yes.
Which makes this very complicated.
Oh, exactly.
But then I wanted Destiny to be wrong, but Miranda was crying when she left. So I don't think she was.
Me neither. And then Miranda comes home. And Roman's
Not
like,
yet.
where? Oh, not yet?
No.
Okay.
We go to Shelly in the White Tower, and she's talking to Pryce. And Pryce is like, I'm so happy that you're here. Like, I'm so happy that you found your voice. I always knew you would. Like, I'm so proud of you. And
The way he said it was because, like, he touched her face.
He said, glowworm, you've lost your glow, but you've gained your voice.
And I was like, oh, damn it. I like Pryce.
I like Pryce when he's with Shelly.
Same.
I think I like everyone when they're with Shelly. Shelly just brings out the best in everyone.
Oh, for sure.
She asks where Norman is, and Pryce says that Norman is gathering the rest of her family, and she does not seem happy. And I don't know if it's, and I was confused by that because I thought she would be happy to see Roman, but I don't know if she's just...
I don't necessarily think it's Roman that she's not happy to see. I think it might be Olivia.
But then we go back to...
Oh, yes. So Miranda is coming home, and Roman is like, where were you? And she was like, oh, I was with Peter. We had, there was a party. I drank, and I slept with him. And she goes upstairs to, like, go check on the baby. But she opens a door and sees bitch nanny and the old butler doing it. And she's like, oh, never mind. Let me not look at this. And I'm pretty sure that was in Roman's bed.
I don't know whose bed it was in, but it was nasty.
It was gross, seeing two old people just humping away. I was like, I don't need to see this. And Miranda was like, I don't either. And she's like, time to go feed the baby.
But then she does the worst thing.
Yep.
And she decides, I'm going to take the baby out of the house. Bitch, who gave you permission?
Exactly. Like, first of all, Roman does not want people knowing that this baby even exists.
Right. But here's the thing. I get that she's worried about the baby. And she wants the baby to see the sun. And she wants the baby to be cared for. And she knows that Roman is struggling. But you cannot walk up into somebody's house, take their child to the park, and not tell them. That is literally kidnapping.
Exactly. And then while Miranda sneaks out with the baby, Roman is on the phone, like, finding out that, like, because he has, like, pus leaking out of his ear, and he's trying to call Pryce, like, this isn't normal. He's like, no, he's like, it is. Like, it's your body rejecting, like, cleansing itself, getting rid of the UPR. He's like, it's gonna be rough. He's like, no, the fuck is not. He's like, I have yellow pus coming out of my ears.
And then we go back to Peter's, and Destiny and Andreas are being all lovey-dovey on the couch, and Peter's like, where's Miranda? And Destiny's like, she's gone. And he's like, why didn't you stop her? And she's like, stop her? Bitch, I sent her.
Yeah.
And he's like, even if you're right about her, I still want to say goodbye. Give me the keys to your car. Mm-hmm. And Destiny's like, no, bitch. So then Andreas gives him the keys to the motorcycle. And Destiny smacks Andreas and storms out of the room. Yeah. But this is when I started to freak the fuck out. Mm-hmm. Because I wrote, fuck, Peter is going to find her at the park with the baby. Holy shit, this is not okay. And then I wrote, worse, no, Olivia found her at the park with the baby. Shit, this is not okay.
Yep. And then we get Peter coming over to Roman's, and they start beating the shit out of each other.
And I wrote, way to go, this is fucked.
Yeah. And then while they're laying on the floor, after they beat the shit out of each other, and they're, like, trying to, like, talk things out in a weird way, and he's like, I don't know what's been going on, man, I'm sorry, blah, blah, and they're, like, becoming more in love with each other. Miranda walks in with the fucking baby.
And I wrote, fuck, 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 fuck.
Yeah. Oh fuck, where is it? Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Like, I was like, oh my god. And then
Peter just goes, oh, I didn't know you had a baby. And she said, it's not mine.
And then
got real awkward. And Roman was like, it's Letha's.
Wait, you wanna know what I just realized? By Roman saying that it's Letha's and Peter getting visibly upset by that and going like, well, why didn't you tell me? And then he's like, well, you were gone. He's like, you left, I didn't know what to do. He's like, I didn't know how to tell you. I'm trying to figure this shit out. And then Peter is holding the baby.
And he's like, I loved your mom.
And I think that is what triggered Miranda to be like, huh, when we get to the last 10 minutes of this episode.
Well, here's the thing. Miranda knows that Roman is the father and that the mother died. Miranda also knows that Peter's ex-girlfriend died.
Yep.
She is now putting the pieces together.
Uh-huh.
The missing link in this whole puzzle, though, is that she does not know that Letha was Roman's cousin! Sister!
Yeah.
And that Peter does not know that Roman was the baby's daddy.
Yep. And Roman knows everything.
But Peter takes this whole thing surprisingly well. He is so in love with this baby, and he is like so just like overwhelmed. And Roman's like, I was so lost. Like, I still am lost. I don't know what's going on. And they have like this moment. And I was like, he is taking this very well.
Yes.
When he finds out the rest of the story, he's not going to take it very well.
No. And in the middle of all this, we go back to the guy in the van who like his calves, and we see 3 other men come to the car. The one gets in the car and sits with him, and he was like, you're a coward.
I don't know if you noticed, but the one who got in the car and sat with him was a priest.
Oh, yes. And yanked off his chain, and he was like, you're a coward. Got out and said something about like repenting your life and to get back, but he failed.
Oh, he said you had to lose your humanity to regain it, and you weren't strong enough.
Mm-hmm. He got out of the car, and he like pulls out a grenade out of his pocket, pulls the pin, and then throws it under the car.
And my note for that scene was, Jesus Christ, was that necessary?
Apparently to them. And so the cult is some weird religious thing.
Well, we already knew it was some weird religious thing, but like, I just cannot. The guy is already dead, and he committed suicide. I do not understand how the grenade was in any way, shape, or form necessary.
Exactly. They just said, I want to make big boom boom. But after that, we get back to Miranda saying this poem in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, okay, what the fuck are you going on about, Miranda? Like, I literally
wrote, what, are you their therapist now?
Yeah,
because she says this weird poem, and then she's like, Peter, you have a wild heart, and you're tearing yourself up on the inside. And Roman, you want so desperately to be a man, but there's still a child inside you. Like, it literally sounded like what the Bachelorette says on the group date before she hands out a rose. Like, she tells the guys what she liked about them before she gives a rose to them. Like, it was so ridiculous. And she's like, I can't stop thinking about you.
And gets up and starts to walk away, and then she's like, so are you guys coming?
And then they just follow her upstairs.
And I was like, I swear to God, if this is some triple shit. And then I saw them going upstairs, and I was like, oh, fuck, no. And then it ended. Okay, Peter and Roman definitely have to love each other if they're going to have sex together with another woman.
I think she's some kind of fucking voodoo witch.
She's a siren.
Maybe. Oh my God, that fish tattoo on her back. Maybe she is a siren.
I was joking. This better have no credibility. I'm gonna off myself.
I cannot handle this. But that fish tattoo That we didn't know why they focused on her tattoo for so long.
She's a siren. Boo, you're being attention seeking right now, and I can't handle that. I can't process this.
Who would you like to punch? Because mine's very easy.
The old lady nanny bitch or Miranda. I'm sorry.
Oh no, mine's Miranda.
Yeah. Boo, stop.
She had no business inserting herself in Peter and Roman's drama. They needed to work that out for themselves. And she just sat there and awkwardly recited poetry to them.
And then said, let's be a throuple.
First of all, it's thruple.
Throuple.
Second of all, it should not be happening.
No.
How dare you sleep with both of these dudes in like one day and then be like, I just can't stop thinking about you in front of them.
Yeah. And then be like, yeah, no, let me do both of you at the same time. You're cool with that, right? Cool, good to know. Let's go. Because when I went to go like change it, but I had my autoplay on. So I saw the very like first scene of not full first scene, but like the first like second of like the next episode, like the first scene of the cold open, like the part of it.
Yeah.
And all three of them just laying in bed with each other afterwards. And I was like, so that did happen. I wanted to pretend like it didn't. And they were going.
Oh no, I fully knew it was going to happen. Remember my friend spoiled the fact that there was going to be 3 songs? Yeah.
See, I just wanted to pretend like it wasn't going to happen. And be like, oh, we're all going to look at the baby and like be like parents together. No. Then I saw that and like, oh, they're canoodled. They just canoodled. They just coitused. They're all post-coitus at the present moment.
I hate everything about it.
Me too.
Any saving graces?
Pryce, Olivia, Pryce, Norman, and Shelley, honestly.
Yeah.
All 3 together. Like, you guys were the only things that weren't completely deranged. Like,
honestly, a little bit of Olivia, too, though. Olivia was pretty decent this episode as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Pryce. Pryce is my...
Yep.
Because he's either being a total savage and making me, like, genuinely interested in the show, or he is talking to Shelley being a
nice
gem.
Mm-hmm. I'm just excited to see everyone interact with Shelley again.
Yes.
It's gonna be funny. Norman's gonna like go over to like tell Roman that like Shelley's back, and he's gonna be like in bed with Roman, with Peter and Miranda. He's like, oh, so that's what you do nowadays. Cool.
Would it surprise anyone if Peter and Roman were in bed together?
I mean, no.
I think that we should ride on this siren train. That's my theory.
Honestly, it might be something. She might be a siren. She might have some, because even with the baby.
So weird.
Like, and I know she ain't Letha reincarnated, so. But that was this week's fucked up episode of Hemlock Grove season.
Literally, it was so messed up that Monica called me the second she finished watching it.
Yeah, I was like, it was late at night. I was laying in my boyfriend's bed, and I was like, Mary Kate, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, what?
Yeah.
What happened? The original plot of the movie. What happened? To anyone who's on TikTok and knows that that's a TikTok audio, I'm glad that you got that. And on that note, if you want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, you can follow us at Death and Aliens. And same thing with our Gmail at deathandaliens@gmail.com. To leave us some things, to roast us, to tell us that we are garbage. Insult us, roast us, always.
Hashtag trash.
Yes. Trash can. Trash bin.
Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can follow me on Instagram at monica.lynn_ or on Twitter at mon_lynn_.
Also, like, super sorry ahead of time, or not ahead of time, for last week's episode audio. That was...
Yeah, on my end, I was hearing a lot of echoing, but on her end, she wasn't. So, and she records Mary Kate records from her laptop. So we're like, oh, then it probably won't come through. But it
did.
So we do apologize.
But I'm sure it will not be the last time we have technical difficulties because we, again, only vaguely know what we're doing.
Exactly. But we'll see you next week for season 2, episode 7. We only have 3 episodes left after next week.
7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10. And so 4 more episodes.
But after we do next week, we'll be at 3.
Which, hold on. 4 more episodes. Where does that even put us on a calendar?
It's going to be a month. So it'll be a week before Christmas.
Oh, wow. Because this episode today is December 13th when this is on the YouTube.
Yeah, then there'll be 4 weeks after that. So it would be the week before Christmas.
December 13th, 4 weeks after that is the week before Christmas.
Why do I still think it's November?
So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. It will be mid-January when we take our season break.
Yep. Which, leave us comments and suggestions for a movie, a show.
For our little in-betweener episode.
It'd be fun.
Yeah. January's not really the most festive season. Like, it's not Halloween or... I don't really know. Is there a President's Day is not even in January. Is there a Martin Luther King Day horror movie? And on that really messed up note that I just put out into the world, bye.
Bye.